Hey y'all, and welcome to Watch Cheryl Scrap. This is the third session for iNSD. Today is Monday, May 9th, and we're going to be talking about cut files today and using cut files. And I'm starting with this picture of me and my daughter Olivia last year, and I'm going to combine it with a cut file from Paige Evans. They're called Happy Scrappy.
Yay, Marilyn's back in. I'm hoping that means that it's working right this time, Marilyn. And then with Hannah, we were talking about the option because we talked about how you use purple to mark the photos that you have scrapped.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, there's a tag option in ACDC, or I was saying she could always use the number.
Right.
Because there's a number option. Because I use the numbers in Lightroom to say 5 stars means I want to scrap this, or I have a major story that goes with this, but it's a favorite photo. It needs to be scrapped. So I picked that up from Stacy Julian a long time ago. It is not my idea. But, you know, using numbers, because if you did, like, maybe use the 1 to mean you've scrapped that photo or something.
Okay.
Tags are an option, too. You could always use a tag that says scrapped. Woohoo! Marilyn's is working. And Janelle and Amanda J snuck in while we were chatting and getting going, and so did Rebecca. So hello to all of you.
Hello, hello. I know I have kits about scrapbooking.
Yes, you do. Like my favorite kit is no longer at TLP, but there are other kits. Or there's those new Scrap Addict pieces that were released this weekend.
I used that last time, so I think I'll probably do it again.
Amanda's scrapping and watching and listening. She is multitasking today.
Really?
A lot. And here I was just trying to post to Instagram, and I can't even concentrate on that and talk and scrap. No, I'm not scrapping. And talk and chat and watch.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete these other ones.
Oh, that's true, Hannah. Your collab with Olivia. That's about scrapping. I know you've used that before, but that's what Hannah loves.
All right, so I'm going to clip this paper to the cut file. Let me get a darker background so we can see what's going on. I've pulled out One of a Kind by Soco and EH Studios. I may use some of it.
Yeah, because you are one of a kind.
One of a kind. Some pretty cool patterns in here. Yeah, we'll try this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and rasterize this so I can merge that down. All right, now this is the way I do it. There could be other ways. If anybody has any suggestions, you know, for everybody else, post them in the chat and Courtney can read them out. So I'll try to go a little slow here.
I was like, how you do what, Cheryl? Maybe you should tell us what you're doing.
Filling in a cut file.
You're going to fill it in.
A cut file. Yeah. So
if you're lazy, like me, you could stop right here and just give it like a really cool popped up shadow, and it would look great too.
Yes. Yes, you could use it just like that.
Just saying.
I'm gonna back the whole thing.
And I'm glad you're going to show us how you're going to do that, because that's awesome.
Yeah. So I want each letter to be a different pattern. So I'm going to have to make selections for each letter. if you wanted to have happy, scrappy be one pattern or solid, and then the scallops on the bottom be one, then you could, select all of them and then fill that selection in. So I'm going to start with the H, and I'm going to come down to the fourth icon, which is your magic wand tool. And there's a quick selection tool and there's a magic wand, and you'll want the magic wand for this. And you're just going to make sure that you're on the layer of your cut file, and you're going to just click there, and you'll see you get marching ants. But when I fill in, I don't want there to be any space. I want it to be completely hidden behind the H. So I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Expand, and let's see if 10 pixels will give us, yeah, that gives us a nice, whatever I'm going to put in there is going to be behind that cut file. And then I'll just use a color there, and you can right click, and I think you can fill from here. But I always just go and have it fill in that way. And so right now you see that it's, there's the H selected with that color, but I want to rasterize that. Well, I want to convert it to Smart Object, then rasterize it. And then that'll give me my H. And then I just keep going. And once you have your select, modify, expand, you're just going to keep doing that over and over again. I'm going to go ahead and do the A again.
Yep, I do it the way that Hannah does it.
Now, how does Hannah
Select
do
the
it?
inside of the letters and then just copy, or I often will cut them from the background paper. So I'll select it with the magic wand and then click on the paper that I want it to come from and just copy and paste.
Yep. So
it is similar to what Cheryl's now doing. I don't remember to fill things ever because I don't know why. So that's why I do it the way I do it.
So I did make a little action to expand and fill.
Oh.
So then I can
select and then action.
I'll just make the selection, and then I can press play, and it automatically fills it in for me that quick.
See, now that's smart. That's what I need to do.
And I do have that action available as a download, and I'll have it in the description when I post the video.
Okay, and while you run your action, we had 2 questions, and they're dealing with kind of the same thing. One is, can you explain what it means to rasterize?
Okay.
And then I'll give you the second one once you do that.
I guess it's similar in Photoshop Elements. It's called Simplify. So it kind of locks in your pixels and sizing up or down. Once you make your choice, you don't want to size it up and down because you tend to have lots of crispness, I guess, with your pixels. So usually I'll have something as a smart object, and that's when I change the size up or down. If I'm playing around and I'm not sure where it's going to go, then I'll rasterize it after I've converted it to a smart object. And you can clip to a smart object, but I haven't been able to use like the shortcut to actually merge those layers down without rasterizing. I don't know if anybody else knows that. Did that help?
And then the opposite question would be, what is a smart object and why would you process that?
I bring in everything as a smart object again, so I can increase or decrease the size. Like if I was playing with this Happy Scrappy and I wanted it to be really big, and then I decided, no, I'm going to change my mind about that. If it's a smart object, then I can keep moving it up or down without any loss of quality. I think
Does that help you, Liz? Where's the action available?
It's on a video. Hang on. I'll let you know which one it is.
I was like looking all over your blog and I'm like, I don't see it.
No, it's not on my blog. It's a surprise.
I think some smart objects might still be vectors. I'm not 100% unsure on that, but because they're smart objects, yeah, you can't do other things to them sometimes. And it's just the way that Photoshop deals with them, because it's still keeping all of the pixel information, and that's why you can make it bigger or smaller without losing that definition. Whereas once you rasterize it, you can go smaller still, and I know that because I do it all the time. Yeah. But you can't go bigger because it hasn't kept those details needed to go bigger.
Right. So you're going to get blurriness.
It's kind of like, the old cell phone photos? Like one of my first cell phones that took photos was a BlackBerry, and the megapixels are small. So if I try and blow those photos up, you're going to lose a lot of image because it's not there. That basically that photo in a sense has been rasterized when it was turned to a JPEG. But if you take photos with RAW, then they still keep a whole lot more information than those JPEGs do. So you can make them a whole lot bigger, and you can fix things a little more detailed oriented and a little more clearer than you can, like when you change the color, you can change it more precisely in a RAW file than you can in a JPEG. Photoshop does help if it's a small. Yeah, you can definitely go a little bit bigger, but let's say you were going from a 3x5 photo to a 10 by, what is that, 10 by 15, 10 by 17, whatever that dimension is. You're going to notice the difference. So, you know what, Hannah? It was probably because you were doing something, because I rasterize everything also, but I think it's just because there's certain effects you can't do if it's not rasterized. And so I just reached the point where I was like, just rasterize it. I don't need it. So if I needed a smart object, I specifically bring it in as a smart object. I'm the opposite of Cheryl.
Let's see. Why am I not finding this?
Yeah, no, you can enlarge some of the small old photos, but you will also notice it. They'll get blurry, especially depending on how much bigger you go. PSP is the same. Yeah, some things can't be done unless it's rasterized. And I think a lot of that just comes to be how much information it's saving in the background. Because it's kind of like when you crop a photo, you're only showing a little bit of photo, but it's still remembering that it has the whole photo, if that makes sense. So it's still holding that other information. So that's kind of the difference between a smart object and a rasterized object, is one of them still has all of that information and one of them doesn't so much. Doesn't have all that information.
All right. It wasn't that long ago that I did this, so I don't know why I cannot find it.
You can find it later. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it a thing.
No.
Okay.
No biggie.
Hey, guess what? I finally finished that Instagram post I started 40 minutes ago.
Oh, well, that's good.
I've been chit-chatting too much. Well, it's good, but I meant to put it up yesterday, and I kind of didn't get it up yesterday.
You're like, what?
Whoops.
Okay.
Yeah. Photoshop has that too, Renee, where you can AI enhance, you can enlarge a small photo. And it does work great if you don't try and go too big. It also works for my personal photos. I've noticed things like that work better with certain photos. Like if I was outside and it was a bright sunny day, it works much better than something that was inside and a little dim, because that little dim photo is going to lose the fuzziness way faster than that outside bright photo, if that makes sense. So in my experience playing around with them, that's what I noticed. So for the most part, I usually don't try and enhance them too much. I just embrace them the way they are and make them teeny tiny photos on pages. And they're still pretty decent size. I don't use them as very big, huge background, but hey, that's okay.
Let me see if I can find this thing.
I've set
I'm
Cheryl
on
down a rabbit hole. All right, what else you guys want to talk about? Cheryl's down a rabbit hole, so I'm going to plug Paige Evans here for just a second. So this actually was a freebie that came in one of her newsletters, but if you go to her little Facebook page, she gave away like 15 cut files over the weekend, all free, that you can use, which are really fun. So there's lots of fun cut files out there if you just want to play with some of them and you just want to kind of check them out. Oh, good, Hannah. As far as I know, they're still available. In fact, if I recall correctly, you know what? I'm not going to recall. I'm going to go and double check it because I can, and it won't take me very long. But let's see. Search. You may actually even be able to find ones from previous. So, oh my goodness. I didn't even realize she did that. She also went in and put, did you know Paige did this yesterday? She put all of her free newsletter cut files.
Yeah.
So if you missed any of her old ones, you can go and grab them. But yes, they are still available. Liz, they're all still available. And then also there's even a lot of them from older that are available.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So the download and fill action is, let me get to the little chat. That's on that YouTube video. Let me.
Woohoo! I'm excited. Hello, Angela. I'm glad you can make it. What was for dinner? Just because I'm always curious, and maybe I need dinner ideas for tomorrow night because, yeah, I know myself. I like that Dropbox tells me ATN files can't currently be previewed. Well,
Right.
of course not. Hannah's like, I was curious too. Oh, good. It's not just me. Chicken, rice, and veggies. We do that a lot too. I think we're actually going to do chicken and what is that other grain called? Quinoa.
Quinoa.
Tomorrow.
So
Quinoa.
Okay, let me finish. I had to go back and finish what I was doing here.
I know. Thank you, Cheryl. That's going to make me trying to do it your way so much faster because I don't have to remember where to find the fill.
Nope. You just, and like this, if I was filling this in with all one paper, I'd just select all of that at one time and then press that. But again, I'm going to make it hard on myself.
Yeah, gotcha. Makes sense. So, yeah. But yes, Liz, if you're looking for some to go check out, she has a ton there. So the title that she's using is actually a cut file that she's using was it a PNG or a JPEG?
PNG.
PNG. It's from Paige Evans. She gave it away free in a newsletter, but right now you can actually go get it on her page, I believe, because she's got a link to all the old newsletters sitting there, so you can go grab it for a couple days only on her Facebook group. Yep. She's got one that says nonstop crop too. I remember seeing that one.
Okie dokie.
Anyway.
I'm going to put a shadow. I'm just going to use a paper layer shadow. And then I'm going to start filling in these happy little letters, I'm just going to drag in my paper and use the shortcut Control G and then Control E to merge down. And if I was mixing a bunch of kits, I probably wouldn't merge down so I could still see what papers I had. So we'll just leave it unmerged for now.
The cut files are on her personal page. They are also in the group. And to answer Liz's full question, she also put a link to Dropbox for all of her free weekly cut files that she puts in the group. 208 and counting. So there's lots there that you can go and see and check out if you want to just kind of play around with some and see if you like them. If you just want to experiment. Yes, on both. Yeah, I just saw that it's on her page too. I have to laugh when it tells me like things that I have in common with people. And I'm like, oh, hey, look, Cheryl's her friend.
Yes. She is super sweet. Super sweet lady.
She does. And she has some Facebook challenges that are open all week too, if you're looking for something a little different to go play on. Or you ran out of time to finish the lily pad ones and you're still in the mood to scrap, go for it. Lily pad ones are open until 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, though. So you have a little more time over there. Yes, rabbit holes. I find random little rabbit holes and go down and then, yeah.
On the right one, Cheryl.
Rabbit holes are fun. Melinda hasn't finished her shopping. Do you have a cart full of stuff or you haven't finished looking through the store? I think I need to be finished shopping because, yeah, I shouldn't go spend any more money.
I like that. I think I need to be finished.
I do. I saw Snickety Print's email reminding me that like it was the last chance and they're having to raise their prices starting June 1st. So I'm like, do I need any more print credits? But
maybe so.
I'm trying to tell myself I probably don't, because the next two projects I want to print, I actually want to print like book form and not binder form, and I use Persnickety for binder form rather than book form. So, but yeah, print credit. Okay, Renee makes a very valid point. Print credits do not expire, and I completely agree with that. And it's kind of like buying forever stamps, because if you bought forever stamps now, then you're saving money later, because when they go up, you already bought them, so you don't have to pay them. Use today's dollars. But now I'm gonna go look because I know I have some print credits because that's how I justified buying them last time. Let's see. Yeah, I bought some at the Super Bowl, Renee. I bought, yeah. Oh, I have a lot of 4x6 prints I need to go do. But let's see. Yeah, I only have 100. Maybe I do need more print credits. Oh no, wait, just kidding. There's still 60 left on that. I have 160 print credits. That might be enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I have 160 12x12 print credits. I didn't realize I have 4x6 print credits too. I apparently bought that last time too, so I have 200 of those. Plus, I have 8x8 because that's what my kid's baby book will eventually be in. You know, my tweenager, who I still haven't bothered to do his baby book, but eventually he'll get one.
Okay.
That's actually my summer project that I want to work on. But I have a binder and I have all the things, so I'm just going to print that through Persnickety and set it up for him. Yeah. I do like their gallery, so it can be easier. And Melinda, I totally feel that. I like how Cheryl does it, and I'll have her show you in a minute because I like to boss her around. But what I started doing is just sticking a folder inside. So I put all of my scrapbook pages in the year of the pictures.
Yeah.
Or if it's something where I'm like journaling between two different photos and connecting them and they're two totally separate years, then I usually will stick it in my whatever the current year is because that's the perspective I'm writing from.
Right.
But for the most part, it always goes into the year of the photos. So I have a second folder in that folder because that's how I organize that it says printed. So every single year. So like 2016 has also printed. And so once I print it, I move it out of there and into the print box. So you know what, Hannah? I am the oldest in my family, so I have the most complete baby book along with the preschool book of all of the preschool book stuff that I did in preschool. The second child had a pretty decent one. The third child is about half full. The fifth child is completely done because I did it for him. Along with the child number 8 and 9, I did theirs. That's why they have a baby book. But here's the thing. I did theirs, but I haven't bothered to do my own child's. Like, yeah, let's stop and think about that. That's kind of sad, but yeah. And well, that's the funny part. My kid's the oldest. He's the only. He should have, but he has tons of photos of himself. Do not get me wrong. He has got like 7 or 8 printed books. I just made the baby book such a big deal in my head. Like, you know how some people make the wedding book such a big deal in their head? I didn't care about my wedding book. Like, my wedding book's been done. I scanned it. I've redone some of the pages because I like have better tools now than when I did it then. But, you know, that's fine. That was no big deal to me. But my kid's baby book, I'm like, no, it must be amazing. So there the photos sit with just a couple printed out. Yeah, eventually, right?
Yeah.
My lucky siblings. You know what's funny? My mom was actually looking at photos of child number 6. And now, okay, when child number 6 was born, I was 18. So I had a camera. And then I got married a couple years later and we got a digital camera a couple years later from that. So Mom, child number 6 has like almost the same amount of photos of him as I do. And the reason for that is because 90% of the photos he has are mine. I took them of him. My mom was looking at that and she's like, I've taken hardly any photos of your brother. Like, this is when you took, this is when you took, this is when you took. I'm like, yeah, but on the flip side, he also has the most photos of him with mom or him with dad because somebody else had the camera.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. This kit is by Soco and EH Studios, and it is called One of a Kind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's the title, right?
That is the title.
I'm okay, guys.
You are
I'm
correct.
okay. I promise.
Okay, you said you wanted me to show something.
I'm gonna have you show them. I was gonna let you finish how you organize, how you mark that you've printed stuff, because I know you have something that you do to show that you've printed it.
Yes.
Monica took lots of photos of her nieces and her nephews. Becca's peeking in and out while she's working. She sected the baby books. She has it for the oldest, but got so far behind she needs to do the other 2.
Okay. So I have all my layouts here. And I think it's red. Yeah. So sometimes I'll, I know for these, it was a special 8x8 book I did of Holly Bell pictures. And then I had this one when I printed out. They had unlimited page sale. Yeah, so I usually mark those red. That they're printed, but you can see I haven't gone in and done all that. But that's how I know what's been printed and hasn't. So it's just a color tag, just like when I've finished scrapping a photo.
But look how organized she is. Like you can see at a glance what she has printed and what is not.
Right.
Liz did albums for each child from birth through high school graduation, and she needs to finish the last one. Angela's working on her kids' baby books. Hannah says her dad put the film in the camera but messed up, so there's no photos of when she was just born. And he was a semi-professional photographer. Whoops. Yeah. My dad, we have this amazing audio and black screen of a video my dad took of like me and my sister on a hayride. And all you hear is the audio. There's no photo. But the best part of it is when you all of a sudden hear, oh, shh, because he falls into a ditch because he wasn't watching where he was going. And I'm like, I so wish that had been video. And so we've just always like have this picture in our head of him like all of a sudden falling back and falling into the Oh. Hannah says the film camera broke down too in her case, so no film either for the first few weeks. Yeah, it is hilarious. It's one of our favorite little things. Amanda's on top of it. She did Noah's in 2017 and Ariana's when she was 4. She kind of wants to redo hers to be digital. I get that. I've kind of been redoing some of my wedding layouts because I did it all paper and I did it all on a really tiny little budget that I had. So, and you know, because it's paper, it's not like I bought one little kit and could reuse each one of the papers. Every
Right.
single page took at least one paper. And it's 8.5 by 11 instead of a 12 by 12. And so I don't care for those dimensions. So some of the pages I've squished things in to make them fit, where I think if I took the same photos and just let them breathe a little, it'd be better. But I haven't gotten around to that. But at least it's scanned. So if I ever want to even just print it, I could just print it. And I'm okay with that. That's enough for me.
Oh, this is so pretty.
I like it. It's pretty.
All the glitteries and happies and
Amanda says she has not done her wedding.
I haven't either. My photos are just in a album, you know. I did do some in a little scrapbook. That was like the end of our dating. So I have our engagement and stuff.
Aw, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's funny because I actually wrote the story about our engagement and I've forgotten. I got so excited when we went to my granny's. I spilled almost a whole bottle of Pepsi on Jay. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
we had to go back to his house so he could change. And Jay was like, I don't really remember that. I was like, I don't either, but it must have happened because I wrote it.
You're like, I wrote it down, and why would I write something that embarrassing if it didn't really happen?
Right.
Yeah. Totally get that. Totally get that. I love those colors too. They're really pretty. I completely agree. Kim and Monica. Amanda bought all the negatives to her wedding so she can scrap them all. Oh, are you flighting? Cheryl, are you humming Flight of the Valkyrie? She says she'll never get that out of her head. Leanne, the kit is called One of a Kind, and it's by Soco and designed by Soco and EH Studios.
Right.
Hannah gave her boyfriend a black eye with her elbow by accident when she was at her mother-in-law's the first time. Becca says it's been written down now, so it happened, whether it really did or not. Melinda bought all her wedding photo negatives too. My wedding photo was actually taken digitally. Is that weird?
No.
So, but I have the video on a DVD and I need to convert it over. Monica's like, mine too. I think we're just like on that cusp of when things started switching from one to the other. And then our family friend who took some photos there, his were all digital. So the only thing that was negatives and wasn't digital was we put those little cameras on the table so people could take pictures. So those were not digital, obviously. Melinda says, coming up on 32 years, digital photography was not a thing yet. Congratulations on coming up on 32 years. Kim says she's been married so long, all she has is the photos. You got rid of the husband? I'm just teasing.
Excuse me.
Oh, she still has him too.
So
I'm loopy, sorry. By the time I hit the third session, we're always
we're tired and no, she was asking if I was humming the right of the no, I don't think I was. I was just like randomly. I think I was just randomly humming, but maybe I was. Now that she asked me, I can't even think of it to do it.
Angela celebrated 25 last month. Kim is at 40. Amanda J's at 30. Hannah saw Viewmaster invites for weddings a while ago. They are so awesome. Oh, that sounds intriguing. Marilyn says her album deteriorated and they got married in 74, so she made a small 8x8 with the photos. Janelle will do her 21st in June. Congratulations, Janelle! Just like me, your marriage is now old enough to drink. Hannah says lots of them on Etsy. I'll have to go look them up.
Yeah, ours will be 30 this year, next 30. Year.
So that's old enough to kick it out on its own, right? It can live on its own. 30. Yeah. Becca hits 19 in June. Hey, Becca, right. Yours can drink in Canada, but yours can vote. Angela, I forgot your drinking age is higher in the USA. Is it 19 overseas as well in England? Or is it 18? 18. See, there you go, Becca. Yours can already drink overseas. See, Hannah, it's 18 there too. Oh, Renee had found her mom had put her photos in an album in 54. She found it 20 years ago and transferred them to CM album since it was falling apart. Disposable cameras have reemerged. They cost $35 now and $15 to process, and the photos are not very good. Kids at a prom used it, and the person talking made a page of the story. Oh, that's cool. So have you seen the is it Instax? Is that how they pronounce it? Instastacks? They have these like almost Polaroid ones that have come out that a lot of scrappers actually use that are they're not disposable because you keep the camera, but they process automatically. And we saw some kids down at prom over the weekend using those at our prom. Rebecca says her marriage isn't a teenager yet, but is it still a toddler or has it moved past that? Angela says they can't learn to drive until 17. It is earlier depending on the state. Like most states, you can start to learn to drive at 16, but some of them have rules where you can't drive on your own until you're 17 or 18, depending on the state. Instax. Okay. It's one of those words where you see it and you think, how do you say that? Do you say it Instax or do you say it Instax?
Instax.
Because Insta, INSTA X. Is it Insta-X? Maybe they missed a marketing problem. Hannah says it used to be 16 and they changed it a few years ago. Drinking or driving, Hannah? We started talking about both. Monica says her nephew had one for his wedding book, the Instax. Amanda's thought about getting one. I've thought about getting one, but at the same time, my kid will still use his cell phone right now and take photos and share them with me. So I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just let him.
Yeah.
Oh, Becca's daughter has one. They're fun, like old school Polaroids. Is the film super expensive? It's past the toddler stage. Oh, you're a tween, Rebecca. 12 years. Congratulations. Which means I know what year you got born in or what year you got married off the top of my head because my child is 12. You know when you find random things like that? Liz has an album of her grandmother's from the early 1900s with photos of her dad at the beginning of a military career that she didn't even know he had. That is awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, I bet it's falling apart. Monica says Instax. All right. Melinda's youngest has an Instax, and the oldest had one at her wedding. The drinking age used to be 16. Monica says, I say it's expensive, but I'm super cheap. It's like $15 for 10 photos. Our pastor was doing the children's sermon and mentioned a Polaroid, then had to explain what that was. That's funny. The film is expensive for the Instax. Melinda says she's notorious for screwing up pics somehow when her daughter asks her to take one. I like digital where you can check it right away. It says kids bought her a new membership to Ancestry. Yes, you do need to get his info started. And if you scan or take a photo of that pages, you can actually upload them to Ancestry as well so other people can enjoy seeing it. You shake it like a Polaroid photo. That's going to be the next like big hit song, isn't it? Shake it like a Polaroid.
Shake it like a
Same for
Polaroid
lumography
picture.
cameras. Ooh, I'm going to have to look this ones up. I have not heard of those ones, Hannah. She says those are super expensive too. Outcast. That or more, maybe it'll be more like a Taylor Swift Shake It Out, you know? Shake it out, shake it out. Oh, goodness. They're retro cameras, too. Oh, it's cute. Aw. I don't know. I am such a big person. I'd rather, like, if I'm going to do that, I'd rather do it digitally in Photoshop so I still have the main photo, if that makes sense. I guess it's because I went through a period where I took photos in sepia because, hey, digital photo cameras did that and it was so super cool. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like early 2000s. Yeah, it's super cool. You can take photos in sepia. And I dread some of those photos. I'm like, I wish this was in color because it would be so much cooler in color than in sepia. So, cool. Liz does know that. I figured you knew that, but I think that's awesome. She uses PhotoMine for scanning with her phone. Angela says Joy has her old camera. It has a heritage setting that is sepia toned. Yeah, they're cool. I like the ones where I at least took both, where I have the sepia and then I also took it in color because sometimes I want the color, not the sepia. Like I took some photos at a baseball game and I'm like, those are cool sepia. You know, it gives a fun feel. But then I took some photos of like playing in the pool and I'm like, oh, these suck that they're sepia. But it's just a personal preference, you know. It's like people who like to make their photos slightly warmer or slightly cooler. Totally up to your preference. Sometimes Joy will take the same photo in every setting on the phone to see how they change. Yep. You know, though, it's so fun to see them play with photos like that and know that it's not hurting you. Digital photos, whatever, it's just space.
Right.
Hannah says, last year on holiday in Spain, we came across a couple that wanted us to take a picture of them. They were actually using an old disposable camera. She had to think about how those worked way back when. Where you have to like take the photo and then wind it forward. Yeah, every setting on the camera. Gotcha. They were way younger than us too. You know, maybe they didn't own one. Like maybe they didn't even think about having one until all of a sudden they're seeing all these amazing places and they're like, we should capture this. Or maybe they got it lost or stolen. Because that happens too sometimes, unfortunately. Hipsters. Well, there's that aspect too. And then Liz is loving the stage light setting on the iPhone that removes the backgrounds and turns it black.
Mm.
That was actually one of the inspirations for the MOC challenge, to make your background really, really dark. We just didn't say that because we wanted to see if you guys would do it out of the camera and not in post-processing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, those are the words I want, right? Words can
Yep.
be hard sometimes.
Very hard.
Oh my gosh, Cheryl, guess what? I
What?
got invited to a pitch-in. Do
A
you know what a
what?
pitch-in is?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. I didn't know what a pitch-in was either.
What are you saying? Pitchin?
Pitch, like a baseball pitch.
Okay.
I-N.
Oh.
It's a potluck.
Oh.
You call them potlucks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. It's a potluck dinner where like everybody just brings something. But instead of calling it a potluck, they call it a pitch-in.
So you're like pitching in.
I know. And I was
in.
like, pitch-in is almost a better word for it than potluck. So I'm kind of loving it.
Right?
Yeah. A pigeon pitching. Because it sounded like I was saying pigeon, apparently.
Yes. I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she's saying, but
I wasn't enunciating very well. But that's a hard word to enunciate. Pitch in. Enunciate.
Enunciate.
Angela says, on a school trip, the staff were unhappy about the risk of cameras getting lost, so only disposable ones were allowed.
Oh.
Okay, I did need to separate the pitch and the in, but it's one word. That's the weird part. That's why I like kind of ran it together, because it's one word, and I didn't know it was one word.
Very weird.
Maybe it's pronounced pitchin. There's no hyphen. I don't know. Maybe they spelt it wrong, though. There's always that possibility. It should have a hyphen. It'll probably have a hyphen when I put it in my scrapbook page.
Yeah.
It sounds like kitchen, too. A kitchen pitchin.
Kitchen
I could
pitchin'.
have so many fun titles. From the kitchen, here's the pitchin.
Okay, I think I'm done. Maybe.
I like it. I love how you filled all the letters with different color, like different pieces of the paper. It's so happy.
And where did there it is. Well, that up there. Okay.
Kim Googled pitchin, and the Urban Dictionary says it's selling illegal drugs in order to obtain a profit.
Oh.
So she wants to know what I'm making. Okay,
Like,
this one is not illegal drugs. Has nothing to do with that. It is straight up food. Everybody's just bringing food to a little neighborhood gathering.
I like that. I need to make sure you know.
Making sure.
Making sure you know.
Yeah. I just think I was invited to a potluck. Oh my goodness, could you imagine? But, okay, to be fair, they did put up a sign by the school, so you would hope if it's by the school that it's not that, because we're too close to the school, so it would be a really huge fine. What kind of neighborhood do I live in? I live in a school neighborhood. Like, I live in the neighborhood where the fines are bigger if you're caught with that stuff because we're too close to the school. It's actually kind of a weird thing, to think about that way. Because you know how, like, if you're in some states, if you're within a certain amount of feet from the school or a certain amount of whatever, you get bigger fines and stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of weird to think that I live in a bigger fine. Actually, I live on one of the streets, and I live between the school sign. And so if I'm not paying attention when I leave and it's school time, I could actually get a speeding ticket because I don't see the sign until after I've left my driveway that reminds you to slow down.
You're like, whoops.
So I always have to stop and think, what time is it? Okay, school is out. Okay, I need to go slow. I do like that, though. What kind of neighborhood do you live in? Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a good one. To be fair.
Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording so we can give out our happy little coupon.
Do a little something, something.
Little something, something.
A non-illegal something, something.
Right.
Phew.
Everything in this podcast is legal.
In this podcast.
Live session, whatever. Podcast.
Bye-bye, live
That's
people.
it's probably in my head from the last time when they told us we should have a podcast. I was like,
Yes.
I'm tired. That's a lot of work. All right, here we go. So long, farewell.